Okay, well, let's have a quick look at Google+. Now, what we need to do to use Google+ is we need to be signed in. Now, we sign in with our email address and password that we created when we started to use Gmail. So I could type in there my email address, type in my password, click on sign in, and there I am now signed in. Now once I'm signed in, it will recognise me here to say that I'm signed in. I could go into here to check my Gmail, but of course in this left hand corner there it's got plus and then it's got my name that I used to sign in. So I click onto here and then we can actually see the way that Google Plus actually works. Now for those of you familiar with other types of social network, it's not too dissimilar in some ways to Facebook or any of the others, except that it's got certain features that make it very special. The first one of these is across the top here, where it will actually tell you who you're actually talking to. So all will make something public so that everybody who's following me can actually see it. Friends would say that only the content that I put on here is only going to be visible to my friends. Family would say only the people who are visible in the family would be able to see this. And if I click onto more, then I can actually have more circles of people who I'm following. So here for example is the computer club, and we can see the people who's inside the computer club, and only the people who we've actually got inside the computer club would be able to see anything if I posted it here to the computer club. Across the top here then I've got home, and this is where I can actually go back to my home page where everybody can see where we can see all of my information. I've then got my profile where I can create and play about with my profile information, and then here we've got people, and if I click onto people, then what this does is this shows me people who I might want to play inside of my circles. I can see people who've added me. I can also see my circles. Now these are the circles that I've currently got. I've got friends, I've got family, I've got acquaintances, I've got people I'm following, nobody in, and I've got computer club. If I wanted to create a new circle, I could click on the plus sign, and then I could give my circle a name. So I may want to call this funny jokes. And then I could click down here and add the people who I wanted to add into my circle. So it would be a people who I felt would appreciate sharing my funny jokes. So at the moment I'm just going to create an empty circle, and so here I've got my computer club, and then down here I've got funny jokes. So there's no limit to the number of circles that I could have. So I could have a circle for grandchildren, for example, where I could share all of my amusing, witty anecdotes with grandchildren. Now when I add somebody to a circle, they will be told and they will be notified that I've added them to a circle. They will not be told which circle I'm in. So I could have a circle down here for people who really annoy me, for example, and then those people would actually be told they're in a circle, but they wouldn't be told which circle they were actually in. Okay, so that's the introduction over. Next thing we're going to do is to go back home and actually start looking at creating some content. Okay, so this time what I want to do is to add a post to my board. So here I'm going to say share what's new, and I'm going to say I am just creating a video on using Google+. Okay, now I could attach a photo if that was something that I wanted to do. So I could click onto here, and then I could say upload from computer, and I could go and see if I can find a suitable photo that I wanted to share with you. There must be one here somewhere. I'll tell you what, we'll share the one of me stood with a pigeon. So there we are. So I've created that image is there, and again underneath here I can actually also say that this image is only going to be shared with people in the computer club. Now I could say that no, the computer club is not going to see this one. I'm actually only going to share this one with somebody else. So I can actually come down here and I could say Pete Reed is the only person who can actually see that one, and done. And now nobody else in the world except Pete Reed would be able to see that fascinating photograph of me with a pigeon. So here I would be able then to share that, and because I'm looking on my profile I can see it, and the only other person who could see it was the person who we could actually share it with. Now underneath the post we've then got these other options. So +1 is a bit like the Facebook like button, so that's to say you actually like that, so we could +1 a post. The next one would be where we could share a post. So again, this is something that you really ought to bear in mind, that even though you've actually created it and you've only allowed one person to see it, potentially they could actually share that post with somebody else. And they could also comment on the post. Ooh, a pigeon. So again, we can post the comment and we can actually engage in a discussion around the benefits of actually catching a pigeon in your kitchen. So again, we've actually got the ability to go through. Now here we've got the video that I created earlier on how to install AVG. I've shared that with you, the people in the computer group, and underneath we've got the ability for you to +1 it if you like the video, and for you to add a comment. So if you don't particularly like it, or you're not all that fussed, you don't need to +1 it. But if you've got any feedback, then you could just click on the add comment button and create some feedback that would make it easier for me next time to create a more meaningful video post. Okay, so what we've done then is we've now created we've looked at our account. We can now post information onto that account, and we can create content. The next one we're going to look at is how we can actually create a hangout. So that's going to be the next step.